The odds are out. What are some of the VGK future bets that are posted online for the upcoming season? How many points will VGK score this season? Player odds to win postseason awards, and much, much more comes your way next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco and Chris Kollick from Las Vegas. Thanks for putting up with us. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Of course, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's Locked On Golden Knights. And find us on Twitter at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G, at Locked On VGK. Is my head big enough? Oh, my goodness. That last TMZ hit, dude.
Well, just wait till I zoom you in when we do the edits and stuff. Just multiply. So there's a mathematical formula right now, Matt. You have to multiply the size of your head by the size of your ego. It's going to take the whole screen.
It would take the whole screen. Yeah, for sure. With me, of course. And yeah, at least it wasn't like I was looking at Phil Kessel with that. Okay.
Poor
the
Kessel.
Forehead.
Poor Kessel.
So, Chris, we want to dig in some of the odds on the board for VGK for the upcoming season. And it is a sign this season that it's drawing. Well, the season's drawing near, I should say. And because when these numbers come out, we're closer to the season typically, right? Because they have to go through all these evaluations and what have you. And we're providing some of these odds. And again, thanks to our good friends at FanDuel, we looked up a lot of these numbers, and you could find them online. You could find them on the app and wherever, of course, you go in your local sportsbook as well. So currently, VGK is plus 1,300, which is really good value to repeat as the Cup champions. Of course, they're going to have a target on their back. This would rank them sixth in the current odds standings. So Colorado is the favorite. I think people are just infatuated, if you will, with this Avalanche team. They are plus 850, Carolina plus 950. The Devils, I think, are pretty good value at plus 1,100. Toronto and Edmonton also plus 1,100.
If you don't like money, bet Toronto at Edmonton. If you don't like money, just give me a quarter of what you were going to bet on Toronto at Edmonton, and I'll save you 75%. That's it.
Yeah. So plus 1,300 for VGK. What do you think about those odds?
Listen, VGK in the plus 1,300 range, it's fair. It's so hard to repeat, even though some teams recently have done it. Tampa, Pittsburgh, and other teams have gone on deep runs.
Chicago.
It's tough. Chicago was every other year. They went like 2010, 2013, 2015 or something like that, but they never had the joy of going up and back, unfortunately. But it's tough, and it's been a short off season. They've been partying. We know what's been happening. Yes, the boys are talking about getting back in shape, getting on the ice, but let's be real. It's going to take probably a minute or two for the team to find their legs. I'm not saying that there's not a possibility they're going to repeat. There's a very good chance the Golden Knights are going to have an opportunity to go on a deep run. The band is coming back next season. Riley Smith is gone, but that's an upgrade. Barbashev, Riley Smith throughout the entire season, most likely. And we'll see what happens with some of the up-and-comers. Pavel Dorofeev, Paul Cotter is going to get more of a shot. And if they have to go a little deeper into the prospect pool, Tony, there you go.
They will definitely have. We're going to talk about prospects in our second segment today. Nice segue. You're catching on there. So VGK is sixth to capture the President's Cup. Of course, you don't want to win the President's Cup. They are plus 1,100, and Colorado is plus 650. Oh, that Edmonton team, by the way, remember how they closed out last season?
They were fantastic.
9-0-1. Do you think that they're going to, in their last 10 games, do you think they're going to have some sort of momentum at the start of the season? It's a good time, I guess, to get an early jump on the VGK.
McDavid is probably, and Draisaitl, both their media comments after losing to the Golden Knights in the conference semifinals, they're going to be very motivated. They're going to be very driven. I mean, and they're going to do their part. I mean, I don't know how much more McDavid can possibly do besides putting up 153 points, and Draisaitl is going to be right there as well. And there's a few other pretty strong names in Edmonton, but where Edmonton lacks, unfortunately for them, fortunate for everyone else, is their goaltending, which really hasn't been addressed too much. And then their defense. Jay Woodcroft, I mean, we can spend a whole show on my perspective on Jay Woodcroft not being the proper coach to take the Oilers to where they need to go. So, yes, they're going to be driven. They're going to be motivated, but I just don't know if there's going to be enough fuel to put in the tank, so to speak, elsewhere. That's probably the best way I can say it.
Your Marchessault story, I have to just take a sidestep here, is just circulating out there. Channel 12 in Arizona had it on their website, and it's just like everywhere about, oh man.
It's not even my story. That's the thing. Like it's an interview with TVA, opinion. And all I did, yeah, fine.
It's an opinion. And it's not like this is fact that he's going to get traded.
No.
It was something that we talked about on the show.
A possibility.
And it's a possibility with everything going on, no contract talks, times, him not getting along with the coach and everything else, and the cup hangover and what have you. So I just think that that's kind of funny and could be a factor, though, at some point during this season. It could become a distraction of sorts. The total points for VGK, the over-under this season is 103.5. Keep in mind they had a franchise best 111 points last season, and they need every bit of those 111. But again, I think that, again, they've got 8 back-to-backs rigged. They have 8 back-to-backs this season. I think the road schedule is going to be a lot more difficult. What do they have? 2 5-game road swings, right? I think there's a lot more factors. And again, teams are just going to be gunning for the VGK. To me right now, so the over on FanDuel was -108. The under was -118. And I am taking an early lean towards the under.
I'm definitely with you on that. And again, it's not a knock that we're not saying they're not going to have an opportunity to make a run for a cup or anything like that. But the Golden Knights are going to go on the road 41 times this season into someone else's barn as the measuring points, as the Stanley Cup champion, especially your mid-type teams who, you know, maybe they're not ready to make that run or that step to compete for a cup right now, but they want to see how far away they are. You're going to have a lot of players that are really going to step up because they're going to see the Stanley Cup champion come to town. So if they can have a good game, it could impress someone, whether it's their general manager when they want an extension or what, however that whole thing shakes out there. So it's going to be a little tougher for the Golden Knights this year on the road, who you mentioned their point percentage was north of 70% on the road, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was just fantastic.
Yeah, you can't replicate that. No, you can't.
Yeah, you can, but it's going to be difficult. It's unlike. It's not as entirely likely.
Well, I think the Wags are going to interfere.
There we go.
So 9.
We've been going for 8 minutes. We got Wags. We got rigged. What else? What are box do we got checked so far?
Or Baby Bjorn. That's later on in the show.
Okay.
But VGK, here's an angle that I take. Right, they really didn't play that many overtime games last season. I think they had 9 overtime losses, that vicinity, right? And to me, they just really lucked out. They scored some late goals. They won some games late. They did win shootout games, and in overtime, though, and so many teams, I think, played a lot more games, overtime games. And to me, I think that could be something that's a factor this season.
Flames and 7. So sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just where in OT and in shootouts, it's wherever the puck lands, whoever gets that big break.
Overtime is kind of fun. But it's, I don't know, the shootout's dumb. Shootout needs to go, end of story, or go to a 3-point system, 3 points for regulation win, 2 points for an overtime and or shootout victory, 1 point for the overtime or shootout, whatever, however you want to do that. But the teams need a little more motivation to avoid, playing for the loser's point, so to speak. And then, overtime, like, it's not about the best team at that point. It's about the team that has the best combination of 3 players and then 4 or 5 more players who might take a shift, depending on how things shake out in the overtime. So like looking like Gary, there's another one for the bingo card today. 17 overtime losses.
Yeah, see, and
the
VGK,
Sharks 16. I mean,
right.
this is only Pacific we're talking.
Do you like
right
my
now.
angle? Do you like that angle a little bit? Because they did kind of buck the trend, and they didn't play as many OT games, and we see a lot of overtime games on a regular basis, and VGK was pulling out those 1-goal wins, especially in regulation.
Yeah, I mean, it all plays a part in the end. And
take the under.
No, I'm with you. I would my ballpark is like 98 to 102 for next season for the Golden Knights, comfortably in the playoffs, top 2 most of the season in the division. Maybe Edmonton, maybe LA, maybe Seattle just has a little more gas in the tank, but that's also not indicative of the likelihood or unlikelihood of the Golden Knights repeating.
While we're talking about props, I think I might have to give props to you because the Vezina Trophy, Logan Thompson plus 5,000, Aiden Hill plus 8,000.
It depends on the house.
$5 million man has higher odds to win the Vezina.
It depends on the house. I've seen 2 big prominent sports books go flip-flopping. One of them has it the other way where Logan is the favorite. One has it the other way where Aiden is the favorite. So, there's 2 things you got to consider when it comes to the postseason awards and things like that. One is the books put a number out there. They put a guess out there. The pool, the sports books' jobs when it comes to the futures pools is not to get hurt. If something goofy happens and a big bet comes in on Logan Thompson, where they have a liability out there. So like if Sportsbook A is plus 8,000 on Logan Thompson to win the Vezina, Sportsbook B is plus 3,000 on Logan Thompson to win the Vezina. If Sportsbook A takes a max bet on Logan Thompson to win the Vezina, they're dropping those odds down right now. And then that obviously is how all the odds kind of play out throughout the season and definitely the preseason. So most likely that's money dictating the bets. But I don't know if the pool is big enough come August the 15th where there's a lot of change. Like I'm curious where these lines opened, let's say maybe 2 weeks ago versus where they are now. I can't imagine they've changed a whole lot of units, but I would definitely take the side that has Logan Thompson with the farther odds because I think he's the one who has a better chance at possibly winning the Vezina. You look at Linus Ullmark last season, people are going to wonder, well, how can a goalie in a tandem system possibly get consideration for the Vezina? Ullmark for Boston appeared in 49 games last season. His goals against was south of 2, 193, 188, something just crazy like that. And a save percentage, I want to say in the 0.92 range. I don't have it in front of me. I could be off a little bit, but point being is if one of the Golden Knights starting netminders, Logan Thompson and or Aiden Hill, logs 49 starts, that's probably not a bad thing because that means both goalies are pretty healthy throughout the year. But it's a goalie-friendly system, and things could work out. I mean, Aiden Hill, going back to that side of the coin, did come in second for the highest save percentage in the history of modern-day playoffs when they started tracking save percentage. 15 games or greater was the qualifier. I believe Tim Thomas of the Bruins holds that record. So it's possible. I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury's a Vezina winner with the Vegas Golden Knights, and that was under the DeBoer era when the defense wasn't as good as it is now.
Wasn't as good, right? So we might see some Gaulic discretionary funds going, of course, on
or indiscretionary, but either way,
or indiscretionary. And then Boston, the Bruins, that's a team. Last season at the start of the season was the perennial favorite, and here they're not even in the top 5 or 6.
Yeah, I mean, just starting Krejci, Bergeron, and we can go downhill from there. Taylor Hall's elsewhere. And, this is
interesting. That was their chance, right?
I think, listen, they still got good goaltending.
Still going to be good. They have good goaltending. Yeah.
I mean, they got good goaltending. They got a good system. You still got Marchand there. You still got Pasternak. I always forget if it's Pasta or Pasta, but you got Pasta. We'll call him Pasta.
Just call him
you
Pasta.
Got Pasta there. You got a lot of other good mid-tier talent and things like that. So you're going to hear from Boston, and I think there's going to be a lot of players. I mean, it's not too often the team that has the best regular season in the history of the NHL goes out in the first round. But in that situation, they're going to have a major chip on their shoulder, similar to the Golden Knights. They were pissed off coming into the previous season because they missed the playoffs, and obviously things worked out just fine. And, Boston it shouldn't be considered a surprise, but Boston can surprise some people. I wouldn't count them out by any means.
Are we going to go Eichel 90.5 points? I think we were thereabouts last season. I'm going to take the over if that is the number. Are there any numbers posted? Have you seen anything yet?
I didn't see an individual number.
But there's also, don't you also have some numbers on winning awards as well?
Yeah, definitely. No, there are some numbers. Let me see. Is it player pops, awards? So Jack Eichel on the Hart. The Hart is the NHL's version of the MVP. You got to scroll a little bit to find Jack Eichel at plus 9,500. That's 95 to 1. So every dollar you wager, you get 9.95 back. You bet 10, you get 9.50, and kind of go back from there.
Selke's more likely. I
don't know if the Selke is going to be in this because that's a little less popular of an award. You got the Vezina. We covered that. Rocket Richard is for scoring. I mean, McDavid, good job there. Jack Adams. I mean, Jack Adams is going to be for the coach that is voted to have the best season. I don't mind.
Cassidy got no recognition last year. Absolutely not.
He didn't crack the top 3. And I'm okay with
you like it being under the radar?
No. I'm okay with Montgomery winning for the season that he had. We're not going to take anything away from that.
No, but he was
the Seattle Kraken coach, Hackstall.
Haskell.
I think third should have definitely been Cassidy in the consideration. And was it the Stars coach or the Panthers coach?
No. It was DeBoer, I thought. Yeah, I think it was
okay.
DeBoer.
Either way, so the point being is he should have been in the top 3. And then the Norris Trophy, that's for the NHL's best defenseman via votes. Erik Karlsson, to repeat, is at plus 1,300. The chalk is Cale Makar at only plus 240. Adam Fox plus
on
650.
NHL 24. Yeah, by the way. Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, that was just announced. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Pretty cool. And is there not even a Golden Knight? Shea Theodore is plus 10,000. As is Pietrangelo.
Come on.
There's value on Shea Theodore, guys. Shea Theodore, his adjusted his 100
tomorrow on tomorrow's show. Don't jump.
No, but just talking about his point, just a point output. He was on pace for an adjusted point total of 61 points last season. If he scratches that to the mid 70s, low 80s, you could flirt with it. That you can flirt. You can get to second base. That's all I'm saying.
Coming up next, VGK's prospects are not ranked very high by our folks at Locked On NHL. 28th. Yep, 28th, of course, near the bottom. They should be at the bottom. We'll get into talking about some predictions that the guys made and thoughts on VGK's top prospects when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to win all season long. Because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner like the Raiders, the fans, I think that's overreaction that they won a preseason game. You can get bonus bets every time that they win it in the regular season. So every time that they win a game in the regular season, you can pick up bonus bets. And for every victory, you can use these bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. And you could start to earn bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook, I should say. And that's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Take some time to visit FanDuel, please, and include money lines, props, all of that around your team. We are back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Kolick from Las Vegas. Don't forget, on Fridays, we have our WTF segment, and that is What the Friday. And we appreciate all of your terrific comments that come in even on a Monday, because we got a WTF, because we didn't do a Monday show. My apologies. Sometimes things get in the way. And so
Monday got in the way.
Yeah. What the Monday. And please make sure to subscribe, of course, on our YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. So, Chris, Sebastian High and Hadi Kalakiche, they're the guys that do a lot of terrific work, actually, with all of the prospects. Locked On prospects is what Locked On NHL prospects, to be exact. And so they did a segment there on their show about the top prospects for VGK. And this was a team, so they started on the bottom and went to the top. I don't know where they were at. They're probably still doing this, but VGK's prospects were ranked 28th. No big surprise. And so Sebastian High said Brendan Brisson, perhaps, and that's the guy that we always mention. Not sure if he will. I think it's a make or break season personally for him. And then Hadi Kalakici, he said that Lucas Cormier is the top prospect for the Vegas Golden Knights. I want to get your thoughts.
I mean, the top prospect, that's we'll go back. We'll go back to Cormier.
Is there a prospect period? Are there?
I mean, I don't know. Prospects? I think of prospects like I think of going like a layer deeper, like the people that were just drafted, like people who are still working their way up outside of Henderson. But certainly we'll start with the players who are most NHL ready. And Brisson is always going to be at the top of this list right now. We thought possibly last season he was going to be one of the players to help erase some of the lost scoring output for Max Pacioretty. And, Brisson at the end of the day had another full season to marinate at the Henderson level. So this is going back to 21-22. Brisson only played 7 games, but he scored 3 goals and got 5 assists. So point per game in his initial AHL start. There's a better word I was going to think. Debut, that's a better word. There you go.
Debut.
But then looking at his 22-23 season, 58 games, 18 goals, 19 assists, 37 points, only a -2. So, I mean, on a Silver Knights team, it didn't do too well. -2 does say something about his ability to play a two-way game. Pavel Dorofeev had a very similar trajectory before he cracked the NHL level. Dorofeev had a pretty good AHL season, and the following year he was basically a point per game, gets the call up a couple different times, and he gets to stick with the Golden Knights for the last 18 games, going with 7 goals and 2 assists. And his first goal came off his visor. If you're trying to win another bet off of a friend in a bar late at night, that's a good way to win some money. But Brisson, Dorofeev, similar career paths. If Brisson is going to be at the NHL level this year, it's not going to be coming out of camp unless there's some injury issues and stuff like that, which we hope it's not going to happen. But acknowledge reality becoming one of my favorite taglines right now. There's going to be some injuries this year, so hopefully it's not sooner than later we see Brisson, but it would not surprise me if once the calendar turns January, February, you could get a little taste of him, and that just kind of depends on how he does for a few games and what the health situation of our top 6 forwards are.
So do you think that Brisson is almost going to force the hand of the Golden Knights to play him at the NHL level just to see what he has?
I hope so. That'd be great if he did. I mean, let's just, for a second say come January in, 35 AHL games, however games they played, if he's got 42, 43 points, then yeah, I mean, at some point McCrimmon's going to have to wonder what's going on. And a lot of that depends on how the team is doing. I mean, listen, if Brisson's tearing it up in the AHL level and the Golden Knights are healthy and there's really no load management happening or anything like that, particularly for someone like Mark Stone, we've kind of hinted on that throughout the summer, then Brisson just going to have to deal with it a little bit longer. Now, if the Golden Knights are having a rough season, let's go tying back to my article making the surroundings here. Things aren't going too well for the Golden Knights. We hope this isn't the case. No one wants a bad season after the Stanley Cup victory, but if there's this time, and just acknowledge the possibility, folks, if the Golden Knights do have a rough season, Marchessault is a free agent at the end of this season. Could Marchessault be traded? Possibly. Yes, it might happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but it might happen. And then that creates a void, obviously, in the top 6. Brendan Brisson, see how you do with that Jack Eichel kid. I heard he's pretty good.
So I'm going to go off the charts here and not any of the names that they had mentioned. And they also said R2 Karki that the VGK just drafted recently. Daniel Chakra, right, is another player they mentioned, and David Enstrom, the recent draftee of the VGK, who's pretty good. And they see him being perhaps down the road as the third line center, if you will, a bottom 6 player. But who knows? But my guy to watch, again, I'm going to go with the Michigan thread here. Brendan Brisson, you talked about, but I really like Jackson Hallam. I really like this guy. The way that he skated there in development camp, I watched all of the games, 3rd round pick 2020 by the VGK at Michigan this year. He could become a Hobie Baker candidate. He's just the fastest skater that I've seen at that level in an eternity. And he played last year alongside Adam Fantilli, who was drafted, right, 3rd. Luke Hughes, he went Hughes went to New Jersey, and Fantilli obviously went to Columbus because Anaheim didn't know WTF they were doing. But after a season coming up in Michigan, and if things are not going well, they might have to give this kid a chance. I mean, he's really skilled. He just took over development camp. I want to see him here in the rookie camp. Hopefully he can still play. I don't know if there's anything that would keep him away from playing in the rookie camp here coming up next month, but he's fantastic. He's one of the most skilled players I saw on the ice.
The rookie camp and obviously the rookie face-off. I hope I got the proper branding right on that. When we host that here in Vegas and
Sponsored
Henderson
by
at the Dollar
Schick,
Loan Center.
I don't know who sponsors it. I just said Schick. I just threw that out there. Okay,
never mind. The tie is there, but
yeah, I don't know what the tie-in is. I don't know. I need to shave.
I need to shave. There you go. There's the tie-in right there.
Birddogs make razors. Shtick. It's sticked. This is sticked. We've got a good shtick going.
Yes. Maybe not anymore, but it's all good. But it'll be fun watching the rookie camp and then the players compete. It's one thing watching them play against each other in these scrimmages. Sure, there's going to be some hitting and some physicality, maybe even a little bit of animosity at times. But, when you put the Golden Knights jersey on going against players, it's kind of like NFL, right? When the other team comes to practice, like the 49ers and Raiders, and the boys start bumping and a little bit harder on each other, and things happen. And that's the moment when these rookies and prospects can really make that lasting impression. Will Jackson Hallam be involved in that? I would assume he would be here for that. I can't imagine he wouldn't, but I'm assuming.
Does he have to be in school?
I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know exactly how that shakes out. I don't think you see like Brisson and Cormier competing in something like this. I don't think. Maybe they would. I don't know. I mean, technically, Pavel Dorofeev, even though he's been flirting with the NHL, is still going to be going through his rookie season come next year based on eligibility. But I don't think you're going to see him out there. He has nothing to show in a competition like that. And
then a name that we neglected to mention is Caden Korczak.
Yeah, Korczak, I mean, he looks the parts. Like, that's it. That's my take. And sometimes that's
is he going to be the next man up?
Stats.
Do you think?
Ben Hutton still. Ben Hutton is number 7, and then it depends on probably who and what the need is after that. Korczak can fill the role if, let's say, a McNabb, someone like that goes down. Even a Zach Whitecloud, Nick Hague, I think Korczak gets the call. If one of the puck-moving defensemen go down, particularly Shea Theodore, Alex Pietrangelo, then that's maybe where someone like Daniil Miramanov comes back, depending on his health, of course. He's had a rough spell lately. So it just kind of depends, really. But Korczak, he's going to have a role, kind of similar to Brisson, what Dorofeev went off. He's got to keep doing his thing in Henderson, keep developing. His time is going to come. And obviously, Alec Martinez, I don't think he is a Golden Knight past the next season. So that's really when Korczak might see the door open for him, if not sooner.
Coming up next, good takes there, of course, on the prospects. And we thank our good friends from Locked On NHL Prospects. Coming up next, where is the Stanley Cup? Where has it been hanging out? Do you have that ABBA music to play in the background? Back with more right after this on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back, Locked On Golden Knights. What's up? Tony Cardasco and Chris Gawlik.
You said Dancy Queen. I shook my head. That's not exactly inappropriate on my side.
Well, okay. So, yeah, let me get this out first. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course, and all that.
Yeah, good.
So, again, we teased this at the end of last segment, but over the weekend, the Cup was in Sweden. William Karlsson, someone put up like one of those chef memes, too. Never mind the Swedish chef. You've seen that before. William Karlsson, I guess his dad, haven't seen it. No, you need to get some, you need to explore.
I'm good, bro.
So
I'm good.
William Karlsson had the cup, and I guess his dad and someone else, family, cooked a meal, and he ate it out of the cup.
Swedish meatballs?
No, that's at IKEA, aisle 7.
Did he have a bowl in it? Because that was the Teddy Bluger. That was cheating. He was cheating.
His mom cleaned it out. She knew. Even in the Czech Republic.
That's why he got traded. He's useless with the Stanley Cup. He doesn't know what to do. Useless.
That was a shame that he got traded. I liked him, and he was walking up and down the street hoisting the Stanley Cup, which was cool, in the middle of traffic. Not so cool. So in any event, then we saw Baby Bjorn. Baby Bjorn was in the cup.
There we go.
And then we saw the conclusion of his day was with Mama Bjorn, and they were dancing to ABBA Dancing Queen. And the pictures were so bad. Like, they were so dark. How could you tell? I couldn't tell what that was. You just have to use your imagination that they were dancing.
Do I have to have a take on this part, or can you just keep going?
No, you can have a take.
I'm cool. I mean, okay, here's my take. Finally, he got his kid, Baby Bjorn, Mama Bjorn, Daddy Bjorn, and Grandpa Bjorn, and any other Bjorn out there. Finally, me and my little Gallic Bjorn, Christopher, are not going to be in a Vegas Bjorn family photo, because when they were doing their Stanley Cup pictures, me and Chris went right down to the glass.
Right.
Every picture from William Karlsson and his kid in the cup and his wife right there, me and Chris are in the background. Like that's got more impressions than the article.
Did you post a lot of photos?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'll find them. They're on the Golden Knights Twitter. They're all over.
Post some more of them. I think the fans would like to see that nice, family album.
It's like me and Christopher are like Bernie Sanders from the inauguration the one year, wearing the mask and the mittens. It's like me and Chris popping up in the back of the Baby Bjorn pictures.
I don't know where the cup is headed next. There's really no schedule that I've seen, but it's still in Europe, I think. Oh, by the way, BT Dub. Shea Theodore, congratulations on his marriage over the weekend. And the wedding invite, by the way, Chris, it said that you must stay till the end of the reception.
There was a funny picture. So Shea Theodore, always the missing
dog in the
tooth.
tux?
No, stop it. Always had the missing tooth and he just never got it fixed or whatever. And there was one of the pictures was actually his dad with a missing tooth. Like, it was just kind of funny.
But they did have a dog in a tux.
Of course they did. Of course they did. I'm sure it's going to get a picture in the Stanley Cup too.
And then one final note: congratulations going out to the Henderson Little League team, and then the VGK Foundation and the Golden Knights. Nice donation of $10,000 for the kiddos to go back to Williamsport and to enjoy their time there. So that's good. And I think they picked up more donations here in the local community. They play Wednesday or Thursday. I haven't seen the schedule, and we'll be keeping track of them. But it's a great experience, and I still say they should bring the cup to Williamsport. I think that would be like next level cool.
Maybe if like they get to the final game or something like that. I don't know.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, but think about all those kids. Like, it's such a cool experience, but they got the cameras, they got all that stuff that's happening and the pressure. And now you throw the Stanley Cup in. I mean, I don't know. It would still be cool. It would be, selfishly, I would love it as a fan, just like watching and all of that. But I mean, just thinking of the kids, man, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough.
And that 12-year-old pitcher for the Henderson team struck out 11 of 12 batters, and they won by 10 runs. The
Mercy.
10 roll rule. Yeah, the mercy rule was in effect. And so I said, seriously, UNLV hasn't had a pitcher like that in ages. So they should go out there and definitely sign him. And people are like, the kid's just 12. Well, he'll be going through high school before we know it. So, Chris, any parting words here?
I was just say, hopefully things go better for the Henderson Little League team than the Chicago Little League team from a few years ago.
27. What year is that?
I don't know, but I think they had a couple like double A players on that team.
Well, when the pitcher had a beard We're talking about Schick and razors. Yeah.
Me and my wife joked. My son, he's doing his evals now, and he got his team placement and all that. And there's a little bit of a taller boy that's out there, and she's like, "Is he old enough?" I said, "I think we parked behind his Cadillac in the parking lot." And this is a 10U league, so we'll see how. I might have drafted him on my team. I honestly don't know. We do kind of like a blind draft, after the evals. We don't get to see all the kids, so I'm curious if I got him on my team or not. But yeah, the Silver State Young Guns will be coming back to the fall 10U house league over at Lifeguard, and we'll be competing at City
anymore.
National America First, whatever.
AF.
Oh, don't start that again.
Yeah,
not the AF again. Not the AF again.
It is AF.
My kids and wife. Amanda didn't. She was outside when I was shouting to her that I was talking about her, and we watched it on Friday after they got home from school, all four of us together, and they got a laugh out of it. It was so
the family watches it together. I love that.
The family watched that part definitely, and they were dying.
That's good. That was good stuff. And then coming up on tomorrow's show, we're going to talk about, now that Erik Karlsson's gone and he's playing for Pittsburgh and the Penguins, who replaces him as the top defensive player in the Pacific Division. I think we could have a pretty good.
Karlsson's a winger. It doesn't count. He's a winger.
He is a winger. Good job there. And Marchessault's a center.
Marchessault is a center, apparently. Technically, he is listed as a center on a lot of like hockey reference and stuff, but he hasn't been
Is he on the third line?
Yeah. He hasn't been a prominent center literally since joining the Golden Knights.
And what was he doing wearing a Canadiens uniform, skating around?
The Canadiens, no, they're trying to get him on the team, and it was like,
you're right.
Come hang out
you
with
were
us.
right about this.
I was right. I told you.
He's going to get traded.
If he gets traded to the Canadiens, God, that'd be great. He's got to be on. That's got to be on the no trade list.
We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers. Thank you so much for tuning in. We apologize again for missing Monday, but we do 3 shows a week now, right? We had to throttle down a little bit. We'll be back again on Wednesday and then on Friday for this week. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We appreciate you tuning in. As always, we'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
No, take care. Take care. Take care.